Welcome to my review of the Vankyo Tripod Projector Stand. So let's start with the basics. It comes in a cardboard box, good for recycling. It comes with a little card like that that tells you how to get hold of support and also what you can do if you're happy with the product. Just basically leave a happy review. The stand comes in this bag. It's just a basic little bag with a strap on it and a zip. The type of thing that I, to be honest, would generally throw in the trash, but you can keep it if you like. So, moving on to the actual stand. I quite like it, I have to say. It's quite an attractive projector stand, which may not really mean anything to anyone, but I guess in some circumstances, perhaps if you're going to have it as a permanent feature of one of the rooms in your house, you may like it if it's reasonably good looking, and it is. It's made of aluminium or aluminum if you're over the pond, so it doesn't weigh a great deal, whilst being obviously fairly strong. So I'll walk you through the features of it, starting at the bottom. Jeez Louise, that hurt. Oh my god, that was painful. Whew. So, that happened. I've had a couple of minutes break there. Me and Projector Stand have had a chat. He's apologised, so we're all good. I've calmed down. So let's get back to business. So what I was going to tell you is that this central locking system is quite easy to use, and then I went right ahead and trapped my finger in it, causing considerable discomfort. However, it is actually quite easy to use. The reality is, like with a lot of things, as soon as you figure out a little technique to do something, it's incredibly easy, and in this case, once you've loosened it off, if you just push up the these bits, whatever you want to call them, it really is very, very easy. What I was doing was just trying to push the legs in, which, when it's in its fully down position, actually takes a bit of doing, so my hand slipped and I therefore hurt myself. So you do that, and then you can, well, you don't really need to lock it when it's in that position, but that's how it looks when it's all shut down. So if I just open it up and lock that into place, and then test it, and you'll see that that is now firmly in place. And I'll walk you through the features from the bottom up. Okay, so it's got rubber feet, so it's not going to slip around too much, and it's kind of just the right softness versus firmness, so it's not going to damage your floor or anything like that, and it is going to stop it from moving around. You've then got these two clasps on each leg, which are very easy to open, and they then allow you to extend the leg outwards. I've just realised this is black and I'm wearing a black t-shirt. If that means you can't see what I'm doing too well, I apologise. I'll try to remember to not do that in the future. So that's very simple to do. You then just lock them off like that and it won't move. I'll stick that back in for a second. The good thing about the fact that you can open, adjust and close those so easily is that when you're setting this up, certainly in my experience, it only takes very slight imperfections in the floor to find that what appears to be a properly set up stand with a projector on it is in fact at a very slight angle. So if you can then easily open one of these legs, adjust it a tiny bit, shut it back together, you can get the perfectly level projector mechanically. And I say that because there are ways of doing it with the projectors themselves, but it's always nice if you can get it perfect mechanically just as a starting point, and this makes it easy to achieve that. So working upwards, you've got that central locking mechanism, which is just allows you to extend the legs outwards to provide stability. That's the extent of it, which means it doesn't open very wide. But realistically, if you've got it in this kind of position with the legs all retracted, that is certainly a very stable unit because it won't be very top heavy. And if you've got the legs extended, then by the time they're all out at the bottom there, you've got a fairly significant base being provided by that sort of width. So that's fine. Next, you've got this handle, which I'm not quite sure why the manufacturers have put it there. Intuitively, I feel that it's to help you carry it when it's being moved around, when it's collapsed and being moved around. But in reality, if you're doing that, you're probably just going to grab one of the legs. What I have used it for myself a couple of times, though, maybe this is what it's intended for, is when everything's actually set up and the plate's on top and the projector's on it and everything, but you decide you just need to move it a few inches to one side or the other, then you can actually pick up this handle with everything attached and move it across like that. So it does come in handy. The next thing to mention is just a minor feature, well, to my mind it is anyway. Just on top there, you've got a spirit level, which obviously it can help you get it perfectly flat. It's very small, which means that I'm not sure that I'm really going to trust the reading of it that much. What I'd rather trust is my own eyesight. When I've got everything set up, I'll look at the picture, is it level, and then I'll make an adjustment. But if you're the type of person who enjoys using a spirit level, then there is a little one there. So nearly done here. The next thing to mention is that this central column rises up, so it gives you a bit more height, but again in a very kind of easy to adjust style, which I'll demonstrate in a second. What you've got here is a locking mechanism for this central extending part. So if you just undo that a little bit, and then you'll find that you can use this to make this go up and down. In total, it adds that much, just for a bit of size reference. What is that? A head and a neck's worth of extra extension there, and then you just twist that to lock it, and that's nice and solid. And that is the tripod stand. So now I'm going to move on to the platform that goes at the top of it. So in fact, let's just move that out of the way for a second. Alright, so here we've got the plate or the platform or whatever you want to call it. This attaches to the top of here simply by spinning it into place. First, I'll just point out that it's made of metal. I think this is probably iron. It's pretty heavy, but that's fine. It has virtually no flex to it. So whatever you put on top of it is going to stay at the angle that you place it. It's got this lip all around it, which you can probably see. It's about 1 centimetre high, which is good. Anything that gets knocked on top of here is going to take a really big hit before it actually falls off. And then the only other thing to show you is the thread on this screw receptacle here. I've measured it, and it's about 4/5 of an inch, which is not a standard AV connector size. They tend to be 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch, so this is quite a lot bigger. So obviously it fits the stand that it comes with, but don't expect it to be able to fit any other equipment that you've got. And obviously hand in hand with that, don't expect the tripod part of the stand to be any good for putting, for example, a camera on top of, unless you happen to know that your camera fits that sort of size. I don't even know if that's a standard size. I've not come across it before. I suspect it's just a proprietary size that this factory use. So you put that on top there, spin it round a bit, and I previously found it's quite easy to get in the right place, and it should just lock in a second. Okay, there you go. So the next thing to know is that it comes with this rubber mat. Stick that on there, and the idea is that it will stop your projector moving around, but I think perhaps the more important function is it dampens any vibrations from the projector, which is going to reduce noise, and I suppose it could even reduce wear and tear on the projector parts over the years. It also comes with these two elastic bands, which I'll demonstrate in a second by putting a projector up on here. And the first time I did this, I had the bands in place before I put the platform on top of the stand. Both of them were to one side, so I actually had to take it apart to get the elastic bands, one on either side of the projector, which is probably what you want. So you just need to wrap these around the platform and over the top of the projector. Most stands only come with one of these bands, which I would say is adequate really. But if you want to be super careful, you can use two like this. The kind of problem with this is it's sort of difficult to actually get two to fit far enough apart from each other to be useful without them getting in the way of the lens or the infrared sensor or various other controls, but there you go. So that is now quite nicely locked in. That can take some considerable knocks, and the projector's probably not going to move at all, and even if it did, like I said, the lip at least is going to catch it before it falls off, so that's quite safe now. One thing that's worth pointing out, the size of this platform is fairly substantial. This is an Apeman M4, I think is the model, but really what you need to know is that it's just a sort of medium-sized domestic projector, and it's leaving a significant bit of spare platform at either side of it, so you could certainly fit a remote control on there or various other bits and pieces. So that's about all I need to show you, I think. I will just show you that. No, I won't. I'll stop there. Hang on to the next section. Okay, this is the negative reviews section. So the products that I review always come with a fairly good score in terms of Amazon reviews. That's a large part of the reason why I choose them for review. But there are always a few people complaining about things, and it's often interesting to read those complaints to get an understanding of what you may not like about the product. And you know, ultimately I'm here to tell you the truth about these products, not just the good stuff. So I've scanned through the negative reviews of this stand, and there aren't that many, is the nice thing. But one of the things that people do mention is, hang on a second, I wrote it down here. There are a few people talking about the build quality in general. Well, yeah, there are. I've got to say, I think there are something like 1,200 reviews at the moment for this stand, and only a small number of those criticise the build quality in general, and I think they are being a bit nitpicky. I would say the build quality is actually really good. The working parts, of which there are few, are basic and not the type of thing that is prone to not working or breaking. And everything just feels fairly solid. Like I said, the most of the stand is made of aluminium. The top is, I think, iron or steel or something. I would say the build quality is decent. The one specific thing that a couple of people mentioned is that this central part has slammed down when they've put it up and then let go of it. I've had a little bit of an experiment with it, and I'm surprised because, as previously mentioned, there's this locking nut here which keeps it in place. It makes me wonder if perhaps a couple of those reviews were written and then they decided to iterate the design and add that in. Maybe it didn't used to be there. Because if you tighten that up, I don't really see any way that this is going to slam down. But just to test it a little bit, with that loosened off, I'll now crank it up again a bit. And then I'll tighten that back up and apply way more pressure to the top than it's supposed to deal with. And that is not going anywhere. So I think that's fine. In fact, out of interest, I wonder what happens if I unlock this. So even with that unlocked, it doesn't just fall down of its own accord, which is what people seem to be suggesting. Okay, so now if I press, it will go down that ratchet mechanism a little bit. But I have to press quite hard. If anything, my complaint here would be that that ratchet mechanism is, well, I was gonna try and say maybe it sticks a little bit. It's actually too firm, but it's not really. Straight up, it's a good mechanism, and if you lock it off, it's not going anywhere. So you've got nothing to worry about there. I like negative Amazon reviews sometimes because they often tell you the most important stuff about a product, but in this case, I don't think they're very legit. Okay, and this is the positive reviews section where I've scanned through the good things, the 5-star reviews on Amazon, to see if any trends emerge about what people particularly like about it. And there's nothing terribly interesting to report, frankly. People talk about the fact that it looks good. Well, yeah, I would say it does. However, it's a projector stand, so who really cares? It's sturdy, contrary to the negative reviews. There's quite a lot of people positively saying it is sturdy and well made, which I would agree with, and that it's good value for money, which again I think makes sense. It's of the sort of mid-range projectors currently available for sale, this is actually towards the top end in terms of pricing, but it's definitely still mid-range. It's not one of the more expensive ones you can buy, and I would say within that range it's about as good as you get, really. Now I'm going to talk about the questions that people are asking about this product on Amazon, and there are only two really that come up repeatedly. The first is about the size of that screw on the base of the plate, which I've already mentioned as being non-standard. The only other one really is about how tall it is when fully extended and how adjustable it is. So with regards to adjustability, as you've already seen, it's very easy to adjust that section, and it's quick enough to adjust these legs that I think I can do it now without pausing the video, because it's only going to take a few seconds. So there you go, that's basically all the legs adjusted. When it comes to the level of adjustability, I've left this one open just to demonstrate that you don't have to extend the legs either completely in or completely out. You can put them halfway or wherever you want, and if you then lock it, it will stay where it is. So the adjustability is 100%. Within the range of the smallest to the largest setting, you can have it wherever you like. When it comes to that largest setting, if you want to know the actual maximum height they can go to, then click the link in the description and have a look on the product listing. They have, I think at the time of making this video, they have 2 different sizes. So it's best to just go and have a look what's available. But to put it in real world terms, I'm about 6'2". I think that's about 183 centimetres, and when it's as high as it can go, it's coming up to sort of here on me. So a sofa, for example, which may be relevant if you're going to place this behind your sofa, would generally only come up to, I'm going to say probably about 20 centimetres lower than where this platform is currently sitting. And if I just put the projector back on top, just to demonstrate the fact that obviously you've got a few extra centimetres of height there. So it's fairly tall, although I think there are taller projector stands out there if that was something that was concerning you. And obviously if you can't find a tall enough stand, you may have to look into mounting the projector. Okay, I think that's it. That's the end of this review. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you found it useful. If you want more information, or if you want to make a purchase, if you're watching this in YouTube, there are links in the description, or if you're watching it on our website, there are links on the page. Thanks, and see you next time.